you are doing a duet. And your partner is Mackenzie.
Oh, that's so awesome.
This piece is entitled
Dance Moms, Season 6 Chaos, Abby's Meltdown, Mom Wars, and a Team on the Brink. If Dance Moms Season 5 was the victory lap, Season 6 is the crash landing. It kicks off with the familiar ALDC sparkle, but underneath the rhinestones and trophies, the foundation is cracking fast. As Abby Lee Miller spirals out of control and the team's once reliable core begins to splinter, the drama doesn't just heat up, it explodes. From absentee dancers to mom-on-mom warfare and a coach who's barely present, this season becomes one of the most chaotic, unstable, and gossip-fueled chapters in Dance Moms history. Here's how it all went down. The first few episodes pretend everything is fine. There's glitter, there's group dances, there's even a fresh pyramid. But just under the surface, you can feel the tension bubbling. Abby is distant and disinterested, and the moms? They're more fed up than ever. Maddie Ziegler, Abby's undeniable favorite and longtime top girl, is already splitting her time between the studio and filming the Book of Henry. That absence is a problem. Not just for Abby, who loses her creative muse, but for the team, who can't seem to find their footing without her. Add to that new girl Brinn who joins the team full-time this season and instantly becomes the target of jealousy, suspicion, and let's be real, some thinly veiled bullying. Let's talk about the real feud this season, Brinn versus Kendall. Abby's eyes light up when Brinn dances and Kendall's mom Jill cannot handle it. Even though Brinn is technically a new addition, Abby treats her like a replacement, a backup Maddie, a potential protege. Jill, who's spent years trying to push Kendall to the top, sees red. And it gets ugly fast. In group numbers, Kendall's solos get pushed aside. Abby starts assigning better costumes, better choreography, and more attention to Brinn, sometimes even calling her the best dancer on the team. At one point, Jill literally says, "She hasn't earned it. You don't just waltz in and take over." But Brinn? She keeps her cool, stays focused, and delivers. She starts racking up wins, making the rest of the girls, and their moms, even more uneasy. Kendall, usually calm, starts showing signs of serious pressure. And who can blame her? While all this drama unfolds on the dance floor, something far more dramatic is happening off camera, but not for long. Abby is facing multiple fraud charges, and the pressure starts bleeding into every aspect of her life, including the ALDC. She shows up late to rehearsals. She disappears from competitions. And when she does show up, she's not emotionally present. She's bitter, sarcastic, and often cruel. The moms, especially Holly, Melissa, and Jill, are constantly asking, "Where's Abby?" The answer? Either avoiding the feds or hiding in the bathroom mid-competition. No, seriously. This is the season where Abby literally walks out mid-pyramid more than once. The kids are left in limbo, wondering who's even choreographing their dances anymore. And when she does engage, she's quick to deflect. The iconic Abby line, "Why don't you go in my place? See how far you get." Even longtime loyalist Melissa starts to question her judgment. "This isn't the Abby I know," she whispers in one episode. But let's be honest. This is peak Abby, unfiltered and unhinged. Jojo Siwa is still the wild card this season, and she's leaning into her signature chaos. Her costumes are brighter, her one-liners are sharper, and she's clearly having fun. But Abby? Not a fan. Abby wants conformity. Jojo wants glitter, bows, and viral moments. It's a recipe for conflict. Abby criticizes her immature persona, calling her dances too gimmicky. But Jojo, with her mom Jocelyn always in her corner, doesn't back down. In fact, she doubles down on the sparkle and sass. In a particularly iconic moment, Abby tells Jojo to act her age, and Jojo, without skipping a beat, says, I'm 12. You just don't like fun." Jojo's solo wins this season prove that her style might not be Abby approved, but it definitely resonates with judges and fans. Oh yes, Abby decides to bring in a mini-team. Why? Who knows? Maybe she's trying to distract from the fact that the junior elites are slipping. Maybe she's just bored. Maybe she's planning for Dance Moms, the next generation. Whatever the reason, it's a disaster from the jump. The mini-moms are even more intense than the originals, and the girls, as talented as they are, aren't ready for Abby's style. The junior elites are offended. The moms are furious, and Abby's grand experiment flops hard. There's even a moment where Abby makes the minis cry, then blames it on their mothers. Classic. The real takeaway? Abby is flailing, trying to reassert control over a situation that's clearly slipping through her fingers. As the season goes on, the cracks turn into chasm-level drama. The junior elite team starts losing more frequently. Their choreography feels rushed. Their energy is off. And worst of all, they're starting to lose their love for dance. The competitions become less about artistry and more about surviving Abby's breakdowns. The girls are visibly stressed, their passion dimming. Even Nia, the heart of the team, seems weighed down by the toxic atmosphere. Abby accuses the moms of sabotaging the team. The moms accuse Abby of abandoning them. The dancers are just caught in the middle, tired, emotional, and over it. One particularly heartbreaking episode shows Nia crying after a group routine. "We used to be a team," she says. And she's right. This season, the ALDC barely feels like a team at all. Everything changes the moment Melissa announces Maddie and Kenzie are leaving. It's the moment everyone knew was coming, but it still hits hard. Abby is devastated, though she refuses to admit it. The other moms are shocked, but also a little relieved. With Maddie gone, there's finally room for someone else at the top. But the void Maddie leaves behind? Impossible to fill. She's been the face of the team for years. Her exits mark the end of an era, and the beginning of the end for the original ALDC as fans knew it. Melissa's goodbye speech is tearful. Abby doesn't even show up to their final performance rehearsal. When Maddie and Kenzie finally take the stage for the last time, the mood is somber. It's not just two dancers leaving. It's the unraveling of everything Abby worked to build. By the final episodes, the team is barely hanging on. The moms are exhausted. The girls are drained. Abby is in full meltdown mode. Even the audience can sense it. Season 6 marks a turning point. The show isn't just about dance anymore. It's about power, control, and the price of fame. It's about what happens when ambition outweighs mentorship. And it's about what's left when your stars walk out, your team fractures, and your legacy slips away. There are a few strong routines. A few triumphant moments. But mostly, Season 6 is about chaos. Then one day, between solos and snack breaks, Melissa gathers the moms for what seems like a routine sidebar. She adjusts her ponytail, takes a breath, and says something no one's ready for. "We've decided. Maddie and Kenzie are leaving the ALDC. Cue absolute silence. The kind of silence that feels heavy, suffocating, and charged. No one speaks. No one blinks. Even Jill, who always has something to say, is completely stunned. The camera zooms in on Holly's widened eyes, Jesselyn's tight-lipped grimace, and Kira's deadpan face. It's not just a team change. It's a power shift. Melissa, somehow still composed, adds, "They're moving on to new opportunities." This was a family decision. But to the other moms? That family decision is code for, "We used this team until it served us, and now we're out." The moment Melissa drops the news, the cameras cut to Abby. Her face? Unreadable. Frozen. But that silence is louder than any meltdown she's ever had. She doesn't scream. She doesn't cry. She doesn't say anything. But if you know Abby Lee Miller, and fans do, then you know that look is everything. She's not just surprised. She's blindsided. And maybe a little heartbroken. Maddie was her first real prodigy. Her golden ticket. Abby built her entire brand, and arguably the whole show, around Maddie Ziegler. From lyrical solos to Sia's music videos, Maddie was the ALDC. And now, her mom is announcing her departure like it's a casual update on carpool logistics. Abby's world just cracked in half. But instead of blowing up on camera, she keeps it icy. Professional. Detached. Which somehow makes it 10 times scarier. Let's break it down. Jill's reaction. Shock. Then instant paranoia. She spent the entire season pushing Kendall to finally compete with Maddie. The whole plan was to eventually claim the throne, not have it vacated. Jill, visibly offended, blurts out, "You didn't tell us. You didn't even tell Abby." Her tone? Hurt, but also suspicious. Like she's wondering if Melissa's been secretly plotting this for months. Pure disappointment. Holly and Melissa were friends. Real ones. Car rides, birthdays, wine nights, the works. So this, to her, isn't just a team move. It's personal. She calmly says, "It just feels like you weren't honest with us. That's all." Classic Holly, direct, but emotionally intelligent. Still, the hurt shows in her voice. Jessalyn's reaction. Fire. Shade. Drama. You can feel her energy shift the second Melissa says the words. She doesn't even try to sugarcoat it. "Of course you're leaving. You've been planning this. That's why you've been so fake this whole time." Jess knows a strategic exit when she sees one. And in her eyes? Melissa waited for the brand deals, the music contracts, the movie premieres, then dipped before the ship fully sank. Kira's reaction. Quiet, but calculating. She doesn't speak up immediately, but you can tell she's taking notes. She's watching everyone else freak out while she silently thinks, where does this leave Kalani? In true Melissa fashion, she tries to play peacemaker. Calm voice. Hands folded. Almost like she's giving a PDA meeting update. "I'm not trying to hurt anyone. I just want what's best for my girls." It's her go-to line. But this time, no one buys it. Everyone, including viewers, knows that Melissa doesn't just make family decisions without very careful calculation. She's been setting this up for seasons. Sia's music videos. Maddie's Teen Choice Awards buzz. Mackenzie's pop career. All of it screamed a slow-motion exit. The difference? She didn't tell anyone. That's the real betrayal. Not the exit, the secrecy. The second the episode aired, Dance Mom's Twitter exploded. Fans who saw the writing on the wall were like, finally, Maddie and Kenzie are free from the ALDC cult. But others were devastated. It's the end of an era. The team won't be the same. Then came the drama accounts, edit wars, and endless forum threads breaking down every blink, sigh, and micro-expression from Melissa and Abby. Some of the spiciest takes? Melissa used Abby to get her girls famous, then ghosted. Abby deserved better. She gave Maddie everything. Melissa was right, that team was a dumpster fire by then. Maddie leaving is one thing. But Kenzie too? Ice cold. There were even fans comparing it to Zayn leaving One Direction. Yes, it was that serious. And let's not forget the reaction gifs of Abby's unreadable expression. Instantly iconic. After the announcement, everything shifts. Abby pulls back. She barely interacts with Maddie or Kenzie. No more corrections. No pep talks. It's like she's trying to pretend they're already gone. The other girls? Clearly walking on eggshells. They still love Maddie and Kenzie. They've grown up together, but they can't ignore the tension. And the choreography? It's weird. For their final group number, Maddie barely gets any standout moments. Mackenzie's featured more, but it's bittersweet. You can tell the spark is fading, and so is Abby's motivation. During rehearsal, Melissa tries to be upbeat. She tells the girls to make it count and says she's so proud. But behind her smile, you can feel the guilt. The night of Maddie and Mackenzie's final performance, everyone knows it's a big deal. They wear matching costumes. Melissa hovers. Abby avoids eye contact. The routine is beautiful, full of lyrical emotion, callbacks to earlier seasons, and synchronized turns that feel like a nostalgic goodbye. The crowd roars. Backstage? No one knows what to say. Abby hugs them. Barely. Tears up, then bolts. Jessalyn tries to be gracious. Holly comforts Nia, who's visibly emotional. Jill side-eyes the whole scene. Melissa stands proud. Her girls delivered. And just like that, they're out. No fight. No big finale speech. Just a walk into the next chapter. The golden era? Over. The Ziegler era? Ended. And Abby? Never quite recovers. To this day, fans are divided. Was Melissa protecting her daughters and giving them the careers they deserved? Or did she use the team, hide her real motives, and leave everyone behind once the fame was secured? Either way, one thing is certain. Sibling rivalry from the start. Let's be real. Maddie Ziegler was always the star of the ALDC. From the moment she set foot on the dance floor, it was clear she was the golden child. She got the solos, the praise, and the attention, and all of it came with a hefty dose of drama. But then there was Kenzie Ziegler, Maddie's little sister. Cute, bubbly, and so much more than just the little one. But let's not sugarcoat it. Kenzie never escaped Maddie's shadow. The comparisons were constant, whether it was from Abby, the other moms, or even the fans online. Every time Maddie nailed a solo, Kenzie was right behind her, trying to catch up. And don't even get us started on how Abby would always call Maddie her star and Kenzie her backup. It was so obvious from the start. While Maddie got booked for music videos and major performances with Sia, Kenzie was left with a few group routines and the occasional solo. And though the Dance Moms fans adored her bubbly personality and dance potential, Kenzie always felt like a second choice. Let's talk about Kenzie's journey for a minute. Because she had dreams. She didn't want to live in Maddie's shadow forever. But the pressure was insane. Kenzie had that pop star potential that no one could deny. From her singing career to her adorable, energetic personality, there was so much more to her than just being Maddie's sister. But the spotlight was always reserved for Maddie. Fans constantly compared their dance styles, their performances, even their personalities. And even though Kenzie tried to shine, it was hard when the whole world was watching Maddie rise to stardom. Then came the Sia era. Maddie's music videos exploded, and she was soon a household name. For a moment, Kenzie stood beside her in the limelight, but she always knew who the world was watching. Abby did her best to position Kenzie as the young, up-and-coming dancer, but it was always clear the ALDC wasn't built for Kenzie to be the star. As Maddie's fame grew, so did the gap. Kenzie might have wanted the solo opportunities, but all she was ever really given were the group routines and the occasional cute solo, the ones that highlighted her sweet, innocent charm but never let her really stretch her wings. And that's where things get tricky. Kenzie wanted more. She wanted to be seen. She wanted her own identity. But could she break free from Maddie's massive shadow? In Season 6, everything changed. The bombshell dropped when Melissa announced Maddie and Kenzie were leaving the ALDC. And let's be clear, this wasn't just about Maddie. No, it was also about Kenzie. For years, Kenzie had been tied to her sister's success. They were a package deal. When Maddie thrived, Kenzie had a little glimmer of shine. But as Maddie started to break free and land major projects outside the ALDC, Kenzie was once again left scrambling for her own opportunities. And now, with Maddie leaving, the question was, would Kenzie have a chance to finally step out on her own? But instead of taking her time and easing into the transition, the Ziegler family made a huge, high-profile exit, and Kenzie had no choice but to follow her sister into the unknown. This is where the real drama begins. When the announcement was made, Kenzie was forced into the same spotlight as Maddie. It was like a double-edged sword. On the one hand, she'd never truly wanted to be in Maddie's shadow forever. She wanted her own identity. But on the other hand, leaving the ALDC was a huge decision, one that would affect her entire dance career. Kenzie wasn't ready for it. In her eyes, she had no choice. Maddie was the one who'd been given the opportunities, and now with Maddie leaving the team, Kenzie had to leave too. It wasn't about her dreams anymore. It was about family, about following her sister, about what she had been told was best for her. And that's what stings the most. Kenzie was never given the option to decide for herself. Unlike Maddie, who was always positioned as the natural leader, Kenzie was more of a follower. Not in the traditional sense, but she followed her sister's example, her career moves, and even her departure from the ALDC. It wasn't something she chose out of desire. It was more about necessity. She was forced to walk away because, at that moment, it was the only path that made sense. And let's be clear, it stung. The goodbye was uncomfortable. The other girls knew it. The moms knew it. Even Abby could barely hide the coldness in her eyes as she said goodbye to the Zieglers, especially Kenzie. After all, Kenzie was never given the same treatment as Maddie. She wasn't the shining star. She wasn't the one who was given every solo and every opportunity. She was to Abby just another dancer. But in that moment, Mackenzie became something else. She wasn't just Maddie's little sister. She wasn't just the backup dancer. She was now a solo act, standing on her own 2 feet,